Not all probiotics are created equal. New Purina Systemic Supplement remains live and active after the pelleting process and throughout the digestive system, making it all the way to the hind gut. Systemic was designed to support normal recovery after exercise and occasional gastrointestinal stress. Whether you're using a probiotic now or not, it's time to use a live and active supplement from a name you trust. Visit mq.purinamills.com to try Purina Systemic Probiotic Supplement today.
You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
Greetings, everyone. Coach Jen here, and thanks for tuning in to Horse Tip Daily, episode 1574, brought to you by RideTV. In today's tip, Horses in the Morning co-hosts Glenn and Jamie are joined by Dr. Gran for a chat about free fecal water syndrome. Nope, it's not the same as diarrhea.
You can enjoy your favorite equine videos all in one place with RideTV, the ultimate equine streaming platform. The newly relaunched RideTV has all the series you love, like Rockstar Vets and Mini Horses, plus top-tier training videos and event footage from barrelracing.com and Horse and Rider on Demand. Whether you're ready to relax with your favorite series, binge watch competition footage, or train with a world champion, subscribe to RideTV today for only $19.99 to see where your ride takes you. Visit ridetvgo.tv to subscribe.
So today we're going to talk about a very sexy topic, fecal water syndrome. First of all, what is fecal water syndrome?
So the basic gist of it is that the body is, or when the horse poops, they're releasing too much water. So usually what people see is that the horse has a normal pile of manure, but there's a bunch of water around it, or
Ew.
if they're, or if they happen to be there when the horse is actually pooping, what they see is normal poop and then just a bunch of dripping after in a range of volumes, I guess, of the water part of it.
Dr. Christie, do you know what I do then? I go, Jennifer!
Glenn, do I need to take over? I don't think you're emotionally capable of handling this.
That's what I do as a horse husband. That's my next comment, and go, you're handling the watery poop. That's not on me.
So why don't you let me handle this interview, okay? You just go ahead and sit back down and have some coffee and
We're
take
talking
your
about watery poop, Jamie.
Yes, I know. So that happens a lot where the horse poops and then water drips out. Why does that happen?
So the physiologic answer is that the colon is not absorbing as much water as is coming through it. So if you open the small intestine, well, I guess I'll back up. So the intestinal tract of a horse, right? So we start with the stomach, which is where all the food goes as soon as they eat it. And then it goes through the small intestine, which is like a big pile of spaghetti almost. And it's mostly liquid when it gets in through there. And then it goes into the cecum and colon. And that's where water gets absorbed and fecal balls are actually made. So if you were to open the small intestine of a horse, most everything that's in there is liquid and gas. And then when you open the large intestine of a horse, a lot of what's in there is it's less wet, it's more dry. And so as that manure moves through, the body or the colon is supposed to absorb enough water to create these, the fecal balls that we normally see. And the easy answer to fecal water syndrome is that for some reason the colon is not absorbing as much water as is coming through it, creating this extra fluid that poops itself out around the normal manure. The difficult answer to it is we don't really know why, or at least to my knowledge, we don't know why. There's been a lot of speculation about, is it a problem within the colon wall? I've done some biopsies before and never really gotten a straight answer as to, here is the actual problem. There's some speculation that it may have to do with diet, that it may have to do with imbalances of the normal gut flora that is in there to help break down food. But the The problem is nobody really knows exactly why it happens, which then makes it very difficult to know who it's going to happen to and how to treat it and how to prevent it.
Those were all my next questions because I have my thoroughbred had colitis about a couple of years ago and was, I guess, a year and a half ago and was hospitalized for colitis, and they were able to pull him through. But I just noticed when you talking about poop and a little water comes out, that's what happens to him. So is that dangerous to have that?
Yeah, I was going to say, what's the
related?
problem?
So-
Is it that water's not being absorbed into the system?
Yeah, so the difference between fecal water syndrome and true colitis is that fecal water syndrome truly is not a problem, a physiologic problem for the horse. So they're not going to get sick off of it. They're not going to get dehydrated off of it. I've had a handful of owners tell me that they think their horses lost weight. I don't know that I've really been convinced that that's truly the reason why they're losing weight. But when we talk about true colitis, these are bacterial or viral problems that are affecting the lining of the colon and cause huge volumes of water loss over short periods of time, which is why those horses are super sick, as you've unfortunately experienced. But fecal water syndrome in general is not a sickness problem, I guess, per se, for a horse. It is messy. It can lead to scalding, like on their back end. So I'm sure it's uncomfortable, but it's not something that they're going to end up being hospitalized or sick over in the short term or long term, honestly. So
how can we, I guess you said we don't really know how we can avoid it, is just improving the probiotics and prebiotics. Like how can I get them to absorb that?
So it really depends on the horse, which is not what anyone wants to hear, because what that basically means is that we end up doing trial and error. There's a ton of products on the market that claim to be the solution for fecal water syndrome. Even at our big AAP veterinary meetings, there's usually at least 2 booths there selling this magical product that's supposed to make it go away. And I've taken samples and haven't really seen the data that it works 100% of the time or even 50% of the time. So usually what I end up doing on some of these horses is some trial and error with diet, some trial and error with various either medications or supplements. And it's never the same from horse to horse. So there's some horses where switching them from, a mostly roughage diet to a mostly pelleted feed, complete feed diet is what they need. And that's, on the assumption that the scratchy hay is causing some irritation in the colon, and that works for them. There's others where the grain-based diets are actually what's causing the problem. And so pulling them off and putting them mostly on roughage is actually helpful. There's some that I've had, put them on grass, take them off grass, and same things. And so there's really no rhyme or reason. And what I would tell people is to be frustrated. It's a frustrating thing, but be persistent in trying to find the thing that's going to work for your horse. There's some that I've managed very well on, I don't know if you're allowed to say company names, but from some Smart Pack products, there's some Platinum Performance products. Those 2 companies have some very good ones that I've had success with. Purina has a new one out that's all probiotic based that they're very excited about. I will say confident, but I don't want to mislead people in that, this is the solution, but they're confident that it may be a good addition to the market. But unfortunately, it's not. When someone asked about it, I was like, well, it's a timely topic because we see a lot of it going into the winter. And a lot of that is because people are starting to see poopsicles on their horses' tails, but it is also frustrating in the fact that there really is no one right answer to what the problem is.
So I just Googled it, and it's like, how do you treat fecal water syndrome? Like nutrition. So some horses do better on early maturity hay, soft Timothy hay. Some do better on orchard grass. Some do better on baled pasture grasses. This is annoying. You know what? I'm mad at you, Glenn, for booking this because now you're just giving me something to completely freak out about.
Mad at Ashley. It's interesting. We had this conversation with the Chinese medicine segment we did years ago with Dr. Wendy, and that's what they do. They do talk about it being a food issue, a fiber issue, basically, right? And how different horses absorb different types of fiber in different ways. And, they do a lot of talking. I remember this conversation. We did a lot of talking about fiber and hay and the types of it, just what you just said. But it comes back to every horse was different.
Yeah, every horse is different. And as time goes by, things are different too. Science changes, animals change, physiology changes. And, I would bet if you looked 20 years ago, we probably didn't see quite as much as we see now. And is that a reflection of the, more concentrated feeds that we're feeding? Is it a reflection of the different soil types that these hays are growing in? Is it a reflection of the different bacterial components of these horses' guts? I don't honestly know. I do think some of it has to do with the fact that we're getting a lot better at keeping these horses healthy and alive for a lot longer, because a lot of these horses that have problems are much older horses. There's definitely some in their teens that have had it, but a lot of them are much older horses. And unfortunately, we don't have a way of slowing down the aging process yet. And so presumably, their gut is only built to survive a certain number of years. And if we're continuing to push it, maybe it's not going to work quite as well as it did when they were 15. That's just a theory of mine, but I don't have any proof of that.
Cool. This sounds really fun. So I'm just going to continue to freak out. Well, Dr. Gran,
I will say, of all of the gross things that we horse people freak out about, this is not, it's a gross thing, but it's not one to freak out that your horse is going to be super sick over.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, I'll just sit here and okay. Well, it's on the list, but I'll move it down the list. It's ckequinehospital.com is where you can find Dr. Gran. You've forgotten more than most know about horses, and we appreciate you coming on to share some of your knowledge with us.
Anytime. Welcome back.
Well, there you have it. Horse Radio Network has thousands of engaging podcasts for horse people, and you can have them sent right to your phone. Just subscribe via your favorite podcast player. This is Coach Jen, and I will be back again soon with another tip. Until then, go ride your horse. The Horse Radio Network and the Horse Radio Network hosts are not responsible for statements made by guests on the Horse Tip Daily. Please use your own judgment when listening to the tips on this show.